When people search for a refractive surgeon online, does your practice show up in the first few results in the Google Maps? Bringing in the first few results in Google Maps is absolutely essential because it gives patients an incredible opportunity to find you online, call your office, navigate to your front door, or even book an appointment online. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Refractive Revenue Podcast, where we give refractive surgeons and practice managers like you actionable tips and advice to generate more leads, book more consultations, and drive more revenue. I'm your host, Eric Barbour, and today we're going to be discussing Google Maps and how to leverage the power of your Google My Business listing to drive more new patient growth. So if you're ready to attract more high-value patients, you are in the right place. So what is Google Maps all about? Well, the search engine results pages are broken up into three different sections. The first section of the search engine results page are the paid ads. This is driven by pay-per-click advertising. The second section is the map pack, Google Maps. That's what we're talking about today. And finally, the organic listings appear below the Google Maps. Those are driven by your SEO efforts. So whenever you perform a local Google search, or whenever someone in your market performs a local Google search, example, LASIK surgeon near me or ophthalmologist near me, Google is going to return 3 to 4 local practices that it thinks matches what that user is searching for. These practices will appear in the map pack section of the search engine results pages, as you can see here. So that's what the map pack is, but why is it important? According to a study from Brandify, 77% of respondents use Google Maps to find near me business information well ahead of other sites. Not only that, but there's been over a 900% growth in mobile searches using the phrases near me in recent years. And also, the Google Local Pack appears in 93% of all searches with local intent. And if we take this even one step further, a study found that when the Google Map appears on a search engine results page, or the Google Map results appear on a search engine results page, it attracts nearly 40% of all clicks. So we are talking major numbers here. And given those numbers, where do you think your most qualified leads are probably going to come from, right? You guessed it, the map pack. I mean, think about it for a second. How many times have you used Google Maps in the last few days to find a pizza place near you, a car repair place near you, a coffee shop near you, a plumber near you? I mean, any type of service provider, you're generally using Google Maps because that person or that business, the results that are rendered are going to be someone that's near wherever you are and where you're searching from. I mean, you're probably using it, you don't even know it. And let me share a quick example of how that might play out. I mean, if you take me for an example, I use Google Maps at least 2 to 3 times per week, if not more. So for the most part, I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I love doing stuff around my house. I'm in the yard all the time, but recently I searched for a lawn weed control service in my area because I had some weeds growing in my lawn in the front yard and I needed someone to take care of it, right? So I typed lawn weed control service in Google and the screen populated with results related to lawn weed control providers in my area, right? And the only people who had an opportunity to earn my business were the companies who appeared in the Google Map results that showed on my screen after I searched for lawn weed control service. Or if we put it bluntly and look at it the opposite way, if a company did not show in those Google Map results, they had no shot at earning my business. I mean, there was no way I could know that they existed, right? So I just had no way to find them. I mean, that just kind of signals or tells you how important appearing in the Google Map results are. Right. And I'm going to share this comment, right? The great Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of every shot you don't take. So Google Maps works in the same way. If you aren't listed in the Google Maps section of the search engine results pages, then you're going to miss every potential patient that is using Google Maps to search for a provider. And as we have seen from some of the numbers that I shared earlier, the number of patients searching online for a provider is significant. All right. So how do you get into the top 3? Well, there are several ranking factors that determine whether or not your clinic's listing will show up at the top of Google Maps. Right. And as we can see here, we won't go into all the technical details, but Google runs a sophisticated algorithm to return the best results to its end users. And although they don't tell us exactly how to make it into the top 3 slots, we know that rankings really come down to 3 major factors. They're proximity, relevance, and prominence, right? Proximity answers the question, how close is your practice to the person searching, right? Without proximity, there's no chance you're going to show up in the local search results. I mean, think about it for a second. If you were searching online and you wanted to order pizza last night, right? You want Google to return pizza places that are close to your home or wherever it is that you're ordering from, right? You don't want to order delivery from a pizza place on the other side of town, right? This is why proximity is so important. So in Google's eyes, how far each potential search result is from the location of the person searching, that's of critical importance. The next piece is relevance. Relevance is or answers the question, how closely does the listing match the searcher's query? Basically, Google wants to determine how well a local listing matches what someone is searching for. So adding complete and detailed information about your practice will help Google understand exactly who you are, what you do, so they can match your practice's listing to relevant searchers, right? Not all ophthalmologists perform some type of refractive surgery. Some might be treating disease of the eye. Some might be doing something different, right? So Google's not going to return a search result that's not relative. If someone's specifically looking for, something, for example, how much does LASIK cost? The third category is prominence, and this answers the question of how popular or authoritative is your practice in this particular area. So Google is going to look across the webs for things like your backlinks and citations, your online reviews, website strength, how long you've been in business, user experience, etc. I mean, basically, Google wants to know how well known your practice is. All right, now that you know the ranking factors, what are the steps you need to take to get your practice ranked on the Google Maps in your market? First step is to claim and optimize your Google My Business listing. Notice I said optimize. Having a Google My Business listing is the bare minimum if you want to rank in the Google Maps. But sadly, many people will claim their listing, but that's where they stop, right? In the last few years, Google has consistently added features to Google My Business, and it's continuing to grow that tool set. But, if I had to guess, I'd say 80 to 90% of all Google My Business listings have nothing more than maybe their name, address, phone number. They've got a couple of photos. Maybe they got a picture of outside of their building. Maybe they got a picture of the sign. I mean, pretty basic stuff. So imagine you're a patient, you're considering having refractive surgery on your eyes, right? That's already, making you nervous as it is, but you're searching online and you come across the sites of 2 practices. One has a basic site, right? Or a basic Google My Business listing with some pics, maybe a decent business description and some photos, but the photos aren't the greatest and they're old, right? The second practice has a fully built out Google My Business profile. They've got great photos. Their recent photos, their patients are sharing photos. They have all their services clearly displayed in the product section. They've added video to their listing, and they're posting regularly and answering people's questions. And their Google My Business listing literally leaps off the page. Which one do you think that patient is going to choose to call? Right, the boring site or the site that's fully developed and they can see everything and they start to feel real good about it, right? So if you want to stand out from your competition, be sure you are using all the features that Google My Business has to offer, optimizing your site regularly and feeding it so it can grow. The other critical element of getting ranked in the Google Maps listing is generating, managing, and responding to reviews. We find that all other things being equal, the practices that have the most authentic, real reviews from their patients tend to rank best. Not only that, but positive reviews for your practice inspires trust for future patients and increases your chance of them choosing you as opposed to them taking a chance on one of your competitors. The next piece of the puzzle is the number of citations or web references of your company's name, address, and phone number. We also call this the NAP. right? This is one of the things Google really emphasizes. If there are 100 refractive surgeons in your city and Google wants to determine who should be in the number 1 spot versus spot number 2, number 3, and number 4, there are algorithms searching across the web looking for authority symbols or signals, right? And these authority signals point to whether or not that practice is authentic or not. And the way Google determines this is by looking across the web and seeing, talking about your name, address, and phone number. Are you on Yelp? Are you listed on your city's Chamber of Commerce listings? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you on YouTube, Twitter? Are you in all the major online healthcare directories? Also, you want to make sure your name, address, and phone number is consistent no matter where you are listed. To the extent that Google sees you're in these places and your name, address, and phone number is consistent, the more Google will look at that and say, this is a legitimate business, or this is a legitimate practice that should be ranked well in the map listings. The next step is making sure you continue to grow quality backlinks to your site. Backlinks are important because they signal to Google that someone else finds your content valuable enough to link to it. And as you continue to earn additional backlinks, Google will take that to mean that your website continues to provide valuable content worth ranking well in the SERPs, and therefore you're going to get even more people viewing your content, which means you're going to probably even get more backlinks in the future. The final piece is SEO, right? These are more like the technical aspects of your website, and I've got a handy slide that I pulled from Moz that kind of goes through some of that. We won't have to, do a deep dive into this, but most people understand the different technical aspects of their website. Just reading this slide, the title, is your content good? Is your keywords fantastic? Is your schema markup correct? Those types of things you want to make sure you continue to focus on, because those will only help you rank better in the Google Map listings. Well, that's it for this episode, and thanks for tuning in. If you like the show, I'd appreciate it if you do me a favor. If you'd like hit the like button, if you'd share it with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel, I would really appreciate it. It helps us grow the channel and reach new listeners. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you next week on the next episode.